Hello and welcome back to Political Beliefs and Behaviors, the Nature and Measurement of Public Opinion. So in the last segment of the course, we looked at the nature of a public opinion related to how do public opinions flow, or how do opinions flow from political elites in American government, so those from the President of the United States and mass media and journalists, and how do they flow to the American public, as well as how does the public select these opinions. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the measurement of public opinion, looking at how do we come to understand what others around us are thinking. Now, I want to begin with kind of a general spoiler alert for you. We are awful as individuals at divining by ourselves what public opinion looks like. So what I mean by this is that our day-to-day lives, as we previously talked about with our networks, are surrounded by individuals who most likely agree with us politically. Our neighborhoods, our friend groups, our families, our acquaintances and communities most likely agree with us on any number of issues, on the candidates running for office. So what that means is that gives us a distorted perception of what public opinion is. If you're surrounded by individuals who agree with you, you're going to begin to extrapolate that to communities that could be very different from you, or to groups of people that could also be very different from you. And this is something to keep in mind, that public opinion scholars talk about the mistakes that people make in terms of thinking about how does public opinion form. So when we think about public opinion then and measuring it, it's important that we have a set of procedures in place to take into account the natural biases that we as human beings have about measuring public opinion. So the first way that scholars and researchers often measure public opinion is thinking about focus groups. The purpose of focus groups is to gain an in-depth understanding, and that's the key word here, in-depth, of how individuals are thinking about politics. The format is a moderator asks a group of 6 to 12 individuals to come together around a table. So I've shown you here, for example, in this particular picture, this is an example of a focus group. A moderator asks a group of 6 to 12 individuals to come together, and the moderator asks questions about campaigns, politics, and government. This format is often used by political campaigns to test advertisements and messaging. So for example, a focus group could have a television in the room, and a member of a campaign will show individuals an advertisement and then ask the individuals in the room, what does this advertisement make you feel about candidate Smith or candidate Jones? Does this advertisement make you feel happy? Does it make you feel fearful or angry? So these are the types of questions, and it's just a small sample of the questions that can be asked in a focus group. But it gives you an idea of how not only political campaigns, but also public opinion researchers can use these types of settings to get an in-depth understanding of what individuals are thinking. One of the other things that this does is these types of settings answer and reveal group dynamics associated with public opinion. For example, do some opinions lead to better opinion expression than others? There are oftentimes controversial opinions that people hold, and individuals may know that those opinions are controversial and therefore not speak up about them in a group setting. Places like a focus group, methods like focus groups, can get at these particular group dynamics that can then help public opinion scholars understand why some opinions are expressed in American government and politics and society, and others are not expressed. So I want to actually show you here a link for what some researchers are doing with focus groups. The website that I've taken you to is Peter Hart's Voices of the Voters, and this is affiliated with the Annenberg Public Policy Center at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. And Peter Hart is a nationally renowned public opinion researcher, and what he does is during election season as well as during non-election years, he goes around the country and he holds focus groups with voters to talk about particular issues. So as you scroll through the website, you can actually see that there are a number of focus groups looking at any particular issue. So for example, the first one on here, Pittsburgh blue-collar voters discuss Trump in the 2016 election. If you click on it, you'll have a brief kind of summarization of what this focus group looked at and the types of questions. And then what you have is you have a video that takes you through the actual focus group. So you can see here the groups of individuals sitting around the table, and Peter Hart, who is the moderator for this, as we just talked about, asks a series of questions in this focus group. And again, it's to give you an in-depth understanding of public opinion. So I encourage you to watch maybe a part of one of these videos. They're quite long, but maybe watch a few minutes of one of these videos to get a feel for yourself of what focus group methods look like for measuring public opinion. Again, these are the types of examples that are perfect for those essay questions that are asked on the AP Government and Politics exam. And it could also just be a generally interesting counter note to what we're talking about here related to public opinion. Now that we've covered one form of how to measure public opinion in the American political system, looking at focus groups, I want to turn next to thinking about a more common way that we see public opinion being measured, whether that's in the media or whether that's in any other form of election discourse that we might see, and that's public opinion polling. So stay tuned, we're going to talk about public opinion polling in the next video.